way too small. So let me just paraphrase and give you the short version of what he went through. At the age of 17, Joseph has a dream that the interpretation basically means he was saying he believed that his brothers and even his father would one day bow down before him. He goes on to say another dream with a similar notion attached to it. His siblings, being the lovely siblings that they were, didn't like it one bit. And they decided that we're going to throw that no good Joseph into a well because we're done with him. We want nothing to do with him anymore. Eventually they think that's a little bit harsh and hey, we can make a buck or two. So instead of just leaving him in a well, why don't we sell him to some slavers? That's not bad. I mean, if you're doing business and then, it's better than the well. Anyway, so they decide to sell him off to these slave drivers. In the process of being treated like this by his brothers at the age of 17, he then finds himself not just thrown in a well, but then sold into slavery. He gets into a position where he is now a slave to Potiphar. At that point, anyone in their right mind would have every right to say, this isn't right. This is not fair. What did I ever do to them for them to do this to me, other than to speak a dream that I believe God gave me? Funnily enough, or sadly enough, sometimes the people that can hurt you are the ones that are closest to you. All he did was speak what God had put on his heart, but that was the treatment he received. At that point, instead of throwing his hands up and saying enough's enough, Joseph makes the choice to work well for Potiphar. He's been wrongly treated. He's been wrongly put into this place to work as a slave. But he makes the choice to do what is right anyway. Can I just pause and say something for a moment? One of the things I love the most about Joseph's life is not about becoming a preacher. It's not about becoming someone who is in what we call professional ministry or something to that effect. He is just someone who's trying to do right in his life by God. Joseph gets put into this position, made a slave. He shouldn't be there, but he chooses, I'm going to do what's right. God prospers him in everything he does, as he does it with good character and good heart. But along the way, Potiphar's wife comes along and starts to try and tempt Joseph. She starts coming around and saying, Joey, and he has to say no. And she comes around again and she goes, Joey, and he says no. And then one more time she goes, Joey, and he says, no, that's a really creepy voice. Who would say yes to that voice? Anyway, he then gets wrongly accused for something he didn't do. He got accused for trying to pursue her when it was the other way round. He resists temptation, he does everything right, and he gets thrown into jail. Where's the justice in this? Someone put a cry out, put up a banner, put up an Instagram post about how important social justice is and make something happen for poor Joey. I love it. Lots of people put those posts up, but they don't actually do anything. They're just like, yeah, this is a good cause. Just a little dig. Sorry, I couldn't resist. All of this is going on in his life. But instead of complaining, what does he do? Good man of character, makes a choice. I'm going to do what's right. And God prospers him in everything he does in that jail. He gets trusted with opportunities. He gets trusted in the jail. In fact, he has two people come along and they say, I had this dream. And he interprets both of those dreams. And both of those dreams come true. The only thing is, he doesn't know that straight away. One of them gets taken away. He doesn't necessarily find out what happened to him. The other one goes away, goes back to his position, and he doesn't necessarily know because he's still stuck in prison, even though he said, remember me when you get back to your position and help me get out of here. Doesn't happen. So from 17 to the age of 30, at any point, has he ever seen that this belief that he has that he can interpret dreams, has it ever paid off? From 17 to 30, he's still believing, I got this dream. From 17 to 30, his brothers who sold him into slavery. He's been persecuted time and time again. He's been lied about. He's been mistreated. But from 17 to 30, he does not waver in character. Not once, not an inch. Because it's not about, well, I was treated this way, so it's only right that I should do the same thing. I was treated this way, so, what is it wrong if I do something to get myself ahead? I was treated this way, so everyone else behaves this way. Why do I have to have better character? But he keeps his character and his integrity through it all. I have a lot of admiration for Joseph. An incredible man. Age 30. Pharaoh has a dream, and Pharaoh needs his dream interpreted. And then the person who Joseph had previously answered a prayer for and was there and heard what was going on was able to come and say, this man, he can interpret your dream. From that point onwards, Joseph is working for Pharaoh. 7 years through drought, 7 years through plenty, he's helping make sure that the country is ready. 7 years after through drought, the country was ready and in a position to help. It's only then, at that time, that his family, his brothers, and his have to come and seek help and gain help. And at that point that he sees his dream come true. I just wonder if at any previous point, Joseph decided, I've been treated this way, why should I care how I behave, if he would have ever seen it come to place? I wonder if at any point in time, if he said yes to Potiphar's wife, if it all would have gone away. But the thing I wonder the most is, if Joseph's brothers never threw him into that well, would the dream have ever come true? Would the dream have ever come true? Years later, after becoming second in command of Egypt, this is what Joseph says to his brothers. In Genesis 50:20, you intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. Isn't that what Jesus has called each and every one of us in this room to be like? That everything that has happened and everything that has taken place previously, it has all taken place that today we can say yes to him. And like he has paved the way for us, now we can pave the way for many more as well. Our life is no longer ours, it is his. Joseph's story teaches us God's equipping often happens through trials. It happens through trials. Whilst everyone's trying to get out of trials, God builds people through trials. How do you respond to adversity, to discomfort? How do you respond to being subjected to things that you don't like? Too many believers today, they run at the first sign of discomfort. I don't like that the preacher's telling me that life isn't all rainbows. Too bad. It's the truth and you need to hear it today. They assume this can't be God's will. This can't be God's will. Why would God allow this? But Joseph, I believe, was forgiving his brothers when he was in that well. He was forgiving his brothers when they put the cuffs around his wrists. He was forgiving Potiphar's wife when she was falsely accusing. He was walking in forgiveness and grace and had integrity to walk the race and believe God will fulfill that dream. They want to see God at work. Maybe some of you here today, you're like, I want to see God at work, so I'm going to go after this other thing because this isn't happening. But what if God is calling you to wait here so you can see it's not your strength, it's not your might, but it's the power of his Spirit at work in you? Here's some things Jesus never said. Jesus never said, follow your heart. He said, follow me. And in Jeremiah, it paints a picture why that's the case. Jeremiah 17:9, the heart is deceitful above all things and beyond cure. Who can understand it? Jesus never said, be true to yourself. He said, whoever wants to be my disciples must deny themselves. Jesus said, if someone wants to follow him, have a look at this in Luke 9:23, take up their cross daily and follow me. Jesus never said, believe in yourself. He said, believe in me. In John 14:6, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Jesus never said, live your truth. Live your truth. Whatever you believe, that's fine, that's cool. I'm happy. Yo. He said he was the truth. He is the truth. He said, you will know the truth and the truth will set you free. I love it. You can accommodate many people's truths, but then when you talk to them, they're often not free. They're not. They have baggage and difficulties and hardships, and they want you to accept their truth when their truth isn't true. And then if you accept their truth, then your truth isn't true, and then no one's got the truth and everyone's in trouble. Did that make sense? Somewhat? Somehow, we're getting somewhere. Jesus never said, all that matters is you are happy. He said, what good is it for someone to gain the whole world yet forfeit their soul? Joseph didn't forfeit his soul. Jesus did say, John 16:33, in this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. You see, he never promised an easy life, but he promised a full one. John 10:10, I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. I don't want to sell anyone short in this room here today. He didn't promise an easy life, but he is promising you a full life. Throughout the rest of the word, we see James said, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials. The testing of your faith produces perseverance. Paul said, suffering produces perseverance. Perseverance, character, and character, hope. The writer of Hebrews, no discipline seems pleasant at the time, but it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it. You see, living life to the full does not come from avoiding discomfort and adversity. It comes by pursuing Jesus through it. Psalm 23:4, even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. David's words are not, Lord, don't let me walk through the dark valley. Lord, keep me away from the dark valley. People are not called to say, keep me away from death's door. Keep me away from the challenges of this world. Keep me away from that person who's going to disagree with me. Keep me away from that person who's going to challenge me to get my life on track. He doesn't say for us to do any of those things. Instead, he tells us to be disciplined and to trust him through everything. You know, when we look at our biblical heroes in the Bible, we don't look at them and love their stories because it was easy. We love their stories because they faced it all and they did it well through him. Daniel prayed even when it might cost him his life. David was on the run but never lost faith. Jesus, not my will, but your will be done. The Apostle Paul, we are hard pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair, persecuted, but not abandoned, struck down, but not destroyed. These are our heroes in the Bible. We often think, maybe I'd love to have a life like them. They did such amazing things. I'd love to see the miracles that they saw. Really, do you want that? Because then you've got to be willing to not just want the testimony, you have got to accept the test. I just want to get through to some people in this room today. I want to get through to everyone in this room today. If you want the testimony, take the test. When did we get into a society where when you're doing musical chairs, you have to have enough chairs out for each of the kids? When did we get to a stage in society when we say there's going to be a race, that there's no first place anymore? When did we get to this place in society where we want prizes but we're not willing to do the work? It's a joke. And now this is recorded. I'm probably going to get a tap on the shoulder in 10 years' time. But whatever. We need to recognize that in this life, if you want to have the testimony, you've got to be willing to take the test. Not that long ago, we remembered Anzac Day. Those that were willing to pay the price for us. We're thankful for it. But what is the result of it if we are not willing to take the test today for us to see a better country now? We need to be willing to take the test. I have a passion fruit vine at home. Isn't that a nice segue? Flowed really smoothly. I have a passion fruit vine at home. And this passion fruit vine has been growing like crazy just recently. And I got really excited because it shot up so fast and all these leaves. And I'm like, the leaves are great. Take them or leave them. I'm not going to eat them. I want the passion fruit. There's so many leaves. They're so long and tall and luscious and beautiful. And it's a waste of time because there's no fruit. I want the fruit. I don't even like passion fruit if I'm honest, but I just want it to bear fruit. Anyway, I'm looking at this thing and I'm getting frustrated with it. And just recently someone told me, you do realize it takes 3 years for a passion fruit vine to bear fruit. What? What? I've been getting angry at this thing. I've started to look at this thing and say, you shall die. No. I've been getting angry with this thing, saying, why won't you give me fruit? The reality is that it takes 3 years. Sadly, Christians today, they say yes to baptism. They say yes to Jesus. They say, yes, I want a new life, Lord. But you forget the point that there is salvation in the free gift that he gives us. But he calls us all to renew our minds, to reshape our body, our mind to his image, that we would pursue the things of God. And in that place, we slowly see the fruit come. John 15 tells us, if we want to see fruit, we must remain in the Lord. Prematurely leaving the Lord doesn't help you find fruit. There's way too many Christians, there's way too many branches that are going, I'm not bearing fruit. See you later, Jesus. And running over here. I'm not bearing fruit. In fact, I'm starting to wilt a little bit. I'll go over here. Why am I not bearing fruit? I'm going everywhere. I've tried everywhere. I've tried every place. I've tried every relationship. I've tried everything under the sun. Why can I not bear fruit? Because you were made for one relationship, to be connected to the Lord. And through that, you will bear fruit. If you want to live life to the full, it takes discipline and divine intervention. It takes discipline to remain in him and to trust that what you are doing now is going to fulfill his commands in your life, and it will bear fruit in your life. The fruit is the divine intervention. It comes only through him, not you. Some of you are in your Joseph prison phase. Stay the course. Some see no visible results. Don't quit. God's equipping you. Some have grown weary. Don't give up. Isaiah 40:23. Those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. Is your hope in him today? Is your hope in something else? Hope in the Lord, and he will renew your strength. I started attending church around when I was 6 years old. And at that point in time, I started having these reoccurring dreams from 6 through to 8 of preaching and leading. Made no sense to me because I didn't want to be at church. Time goes by. Pastor Cheryl marries Pastor Tristan. Well, some people are happy about that. I'm still undecided. I know Pastor Tristan's one of the pastors in the church, and keep getting this recurring dream. And I say, God, if it's your will for me to preach and to lead, if you're there, have Tristan come and say to me, it's time, it's time, it's time. And then I'll believe, and then I'll pursue you. And it didn't happen. And that was pretty annoying. And then years of interesting challenges, getting every label under the sun put on me in school, finding that every test was seriously a test, and bullying thrown into the mix, family bankruptcy. I didn't come to bring you a sob story today. That's not the list I'm interested in. I'm interested in the list of what God did following. Following that, I'm now some 17-year-old at a church meeting because I want to keep my mum happy, because happy mum, happy life, that comes before happy wife, happy life. It's just something, you keep the women happy and life's happy. I don't know. Anyway, and I'm in this position and I'm there because I just want to keep mum happy because she cooks the food. Anyway, so I'm at this meeting and Pastor Rick is sharing this message. And it makes so much more sense to me why it tugged on my heart then, because I know what God wants to do in my life now. He's preaching about how important it is for us to take the love of God beyond the four walls of the church. We've got to get out there and we've got to show His love to those who need it, who need to hear it. And as he's saying all of this, I'm listening and I'm thinking, he has felt something. He has sensed something. He knows the love of God. And I don't know it. All these years, some 7-year-old to now 17-year-old, 16, 17-year-old in church. And I haven't felt it. And I'm looking forward and I can see Pastor Tristan sitting a bit further in front because he was more holy than me. Do you notice I said he was? He was? Anyway, he was more holy than me. And I'm looking at the back of his head. I'm getting really angry with the back of his head because I'm going, hey, God, I remember who's this kid, right? I said to you, if I'm meant to preach and I'm meant to lead, have him say it's time, it's time, it's time. And I'll do it. And at that point, I decided I'm done. I'm not coming back. I've never sensed it. Good for them. I don't get it. I've never had it. It's not for me. Tristan tells a different version of it, which was, Matt, we all wanted to pray for you. You just look scary. How the heck could I look scary? I got baby face. I'm cute and adorable. Rachel said that she's what? Small and sweet? I'm tall and sweet. Anyway, I think so. Before I could leave that night, Tristan, not knowing anything, taps me on the shoulder. I turn around and he says, I have to pray for you. I didn't have a choice this time. He says, Matthew, it's time, it's time, it's time. That moment I was a puddle of tears because I realized God is so big, bigger than our tests, bigger than our trials, bigger than anything we're facing, that He knew the right time. You know, sometimes you feel like you're at breaking point. You're in a good place. You don't like me saying it, but you're in a good place. Because that's when you stop relying on your strength, right? That's when you start leaning into His. I was about 7 when I had that dream. I was about 17 when God answered, 18 when Pastor Rick affirmed it. It wasn't until I was 34 that I became the senior minister. What do you do with that? You trust God. 27 years between the dream and walking in it. I'm complaining about 3 years for a passion fruit. Next year marks 40 years of us as a church in Doncaster. It marks 20 years for me being on staff in the church. It marks 3 years of us starting new churches. And in that time, we've seen some miracles. We've had some testimonies. We've seen people give their lives, be baptized. We've seen God work miracles. We've seen churches started. When I got to be honest, I was the last person to say yes to church planting. But God has made it happen. First Melbourne, then Traralgon. Lilydale is just around the corner and all the churches following. Living life to the full takes discipline and divine intervention. You remain in Him. Be disciplined. You believe in due season you will bear fruit through Him. Divine intervention. And you'll see God work miracles in your life. Today, are you believing for more? good. Let's stand to our feet. This scripture speaks volumes to me. Just one verse, and I pray you get the heart of it here today. 2 Timothy 4:7. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Baptism is the beginning, but for the rest of our lives, we've made a commitment to pursue Him, to live for Him, and to keep the faith. We're not going to rashly give up. We're not going to turn back. We are going to wholeheartedly cling to Jesus. We're going to let Him equip us. We're going to let Him grow us. We're going to trust Him in everything. We're going to keep the faith. And where we've marveled at the heroes of old, the Lord wants to make you the hero of the faith today. He calls you to be more than a conqueror. There's something on your heart right now, something you're going through, and you're saying, you know what, that's me. I want to keep the faith. I want to overcome. As Jesus has overcome, I want to overcome and not